Hey, it's Joe Amoia, founder and creator of GPSforlove.com, and I've got a great video for you today. In fact, you're going to want to send this video not only to any single woman you know, but to any woman you know, because today we're going to talk about how to communicate to a guy. Now, before we get into the details, I'm going to give you some specific tips and strategies. But again, I want you to understand that we're talking about how to communicate to a man, okay, not a boy. The boys are those guys who are selfish, immature, and emotionally unavailable. You can use these tips, you can use these strategies, but they're not going to work because those guys care about one thing and one thing only, themselves. No, today we're talking about how to communicate to a man, a guy who is unselfish, who is mature, who can be in a relationship, and who is emotionally available. And yes, I know where are those guys? They're out there, trust me. But these tips, these strategies will help you learn how to communicate when you're in a relationship with one of those guys so you can build one of those long-lasting, awesome relationships. So I'm going to give you 3 important tips and strategies. So the first one, okay, this is important. And I'm going to tell you this because I've been a guy for over 4+ decades, okay? Mean what you say and say what you mean. Be specific. See, if we're driving down the road and you need to go to the bathroom, don't ask us, honey, do you need to go to the bathroom? Because we hear you're asking us if we need to go to the bathroom. So if we don't need to go, we'll simply go, no, I'm okay. And then that'll be it. But what happens is then you get upset because we didn't understand that that's what you were looking for. And I know that should be our job, but some of us never got that memo. So I'm going to give you some tips and strategies that will make your life easy. So all you need to do is be specific. Honey, do you mind if we stop? I got to go to the bathroom. Okay, that's it, plain and simple. And in this, as far as meaning what you say and saying what you mean, I got to give you something that's really, really important because I see this all the time. It was something I went through with my wife in the very beginning when we were together. Don't be afraid to speak your truth. You know, so often you want to say something, but you're afraid that if you say it, we might think something or we might feel something. We might not like you or might not love you or want to be with you. See, us men realize that there's going to be conflicts. There's going to be disagreements. We're not going to be on the same page all the time. And that's perfectly okay. And to be quite honest, we want it that way. We don't want a carbon copy of us. We don't want to be everything to be perfect all the time. That would be boring. Okay? Not that we look for conflict, but we realize that's simply a part of life. So if you speak your truth, it helps us get to the real issue and it helps us to fix that because that's what we do as men. We love to be problem solvers. We love to fix things. We love to take care of things. And so if you simply approach us with the problem, we get to it much quicker and we're able to resolve it much easier. Okay, so that's the first one. Okay. The second tip is ask questions when you're unsure. Don't misinterpret things. I'm telling you this. Please, please, please don't misinterpret things. If you're unsure, simply ask us a question. Now, one of the things I want to tell you about this is there's 3 key phrases that are going to make your life so much easier. I'm telling you this, you're going to want to send this to every woman you know. Because the key is when you're communication isn't about talking at somebody, it's about talking to them. Because when you talk at somebody, whether it's a guy, your girlfriend, your mom, your sister, your daughter, what it does is it automatically puts them on the defensive and it closes down, and very often they don't even hear what you're saying. So the best way to do that is to talk to them. And the best way to do that is this one little key sentence. Ready? I hope you're paying attention. You might actually want to write this down. This is awesome. And it starts like this. I'm just curious. Why? Those 4 words will make your life easier because you're not making somebody wrong. What you're doing is trying to understand who they are and why they're doing what they do or why they said what they said. So if somebody, a guy said something to you, or let's say a guy was going to call you and he didn't call, instead of making him wrong and start saying, you should have called and you didn't call, he gets on the defensive, he starts getting pissed off, he starts attacking. What you say, I'm just curious, why did you say you were going to call and you didn't? Now you give him the space to explain himself. And let's face it, he's going to tell you the truth and there's going to be a legitimate reason, or he's going to be BSing you, and you're smart enough to figure it out. Okay? Us guys, we admit we're not perfect. We admit we'll make mistakes, and we'll own up to it when there's a safe space, and we're not made to believe that we're wrong. Okay, so that's really, really, I'm telling you, this is vital. I'm just curious why. So that's the second step. Okay, the second tip. And the third thing, and this is going to make your life so much easier, and that is to see things as they are, not better or not worse. See, so often I see in relationships, there's this misinterpretation of what's really happening. A guy will do something and a woman will simply misinterpret and give it so much more meaning than there actually is. So, for instance, a guy says he's going to call. Okay? You have a good first date and you're interested and you think there might be some chemistry there. And he says, I really like together, I'll call you. Now, again, we're talking about the men. We're not talking about the boys. There's plenty of guys who just tell you that and have no idea of even calling. Okay, they're just BSing you. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the guys who really do want to call and they will call. So what happens is, because in your mind, you're all excited and you want to know when he's going to call. And so you sit and you wait by the phone. So 4 o'clock the next day, he's not calling. 5 o'clock the next day, he's not calling. 6 o'clock the next day, he's not. 7 o'clock, he's not calling. And then all of a sudden, he doesn't call that day. And all of a sudden, that's it. He's not interested. I don't understand. Men suck. And you start going down this road. Okay. And then he calls the next day. And like nothing happened, because he never said when he was going to call. He said he was going to call you, and he called you. Now, if you want to make your life easier, this is another little tip. If a guy ever says that, I'll give you a call, instead of, going on attack, when are you going to call? Getting on the defensive, acting some like needy, desperate chick, simply say, hey, great. When can I expect your call by? See, if he's really serious, now he's pinpointing himself down to a specific day. Okay, I'll call you on Wednesday night. Great. Now now you don't have to wait by the phone. You can go live your life. And either he calls Wednesday night or he doesn't. Now, if he doesn't, you want to pay attention. Okay? Because he's showing you that he's not a man of integrity. He doesn't keep his word. Now, if he calls on Thursday and Friday and he says, look, you know what? I know I said I was going to call last night. I got caught up. My mom was in the hospital, and he acknowledges that he gave you his word. That's a different story. But when a guy says something and he doesn't do it, especially in the beginning, that guy's showing you he doesn't have integrity. I don't care how amazing he is. I don't care how funny he was on the first date. That's something you want to pay attention to. And again, here's one last tip. Okay, I ever say, never ask a question if you don't want an honest answer. So if you're clothes shopping and you're trying something on and you say, does this make my butt look too big? Okay, we're guys. You ask us a question, we're going to give you an honest answer. Okay, and so we're simply going to go, yeah, it does. Now, if it does, again, don't make it mean anything more than, yeah, it makes your butt look big. You asked the question. Okay, it doesn't mean that we don't love you. It doesn't mean we don't love your big butt. Okay, it just means that item of clothing makes your butt look big. Now, I know a lot of these sound so simple, and they sound like common sense, but I'm a big believer, especially in relationships, that common sense isn't necessarily so common. So these tips, these strategies are real life things that you can start doing right now to greatly increase your level of communication with a guy. Because I'm telling you, as someone who's been married now for almost 13 years, been with my wife for 15, that the key to a effective relationship is being able to communicate and to resolve things quickly and efficiently. Well, I know I went a little over today, but this is one of those really, really key ones. You might want to go back and, record this. You might want to go back and watch this over, take notes, transcribe it, do whatever you need to do. But I'm telling you, these tips, these strategies will make your life so much easier if you just abide by them. Well, I'd love to hear from you. You have any questions, you have any comment and feedback, the GPS for Love community is a safe place for you to get the feedback and the tips and strategies that you can use to create that awesome relationship, the kind you desire and deserve. As always, honor and privilege. I'll see you next time. Much love.